Hey, what's up guys? Trevor here, back with another Prorevenge story. Sorry about the delay, I've been out of town, but I'm ready to get it back and rolling. And before we start this though, I would like to say a sincere thank you to you all. Over the past couple days, this channel has gone through some pretty big growths and it's amazing to watch. Also, to everyone who's been engaging in the comments on these videos, it really does mean more than you know, so thank you all so much. Alright, now let's get into what you really clicked on this video for, some sweet revenge. In the first story, we've got a guy who was deported after using the OP and just throwing her away like trash. Next, we've got a member of PETA who gets the tables turned around on him. And finally, after a girl decides to assault the deaf girlfriend of our OP, he decides to get her back by making her lose out on the school of her dreams. And of course, make sure you stick around to the very end because we've got our bonus videos and they're pretty good. Alright, we'll see you soon. And now, you're really being deported. TLDR, revenge is great. Yes it is. Two disclaimers. 1, I was relatively young/naive. And 2, I was in love. Protagonist are me, obviously, and CB, aka the arsehole, with guest appearances from NM1 and NM2, Nice Man 1 and 2. This all occurred pre-mobile, phone, and web, and happened 2 weeks prior to traveling to the UK from Australia for the first time with my live-in British boyfriend of 18 months, with a view of living there for the next year or two. I met CB when he came backpacking to Australia. After dating for a few months, we moved in together. CB was on a 12-month working holiday visa in Australia, I think, but got a 12-month extension on a trip to Okay, I'm gonna assume that's New Zealand. Excuse my stupid American brain, but yeah, I'm gonna assume that. New Zealand, allowing him to remain in Australia for up to 2 years. Remember, this is important. I had just put down the deposit on my flight. He had already had a ticket, and we'd give it our notice at our apartment. Quit our jobs, arrange with his parents to collect us at Hearthrow, etc, etc. Then on Friday night, CB simply doesn't come home from work. I assume Bozzy send-off, sleeping at a workmate's place. Home in the morning, no problem. But then CB doesn't come back home Saturday, and I start to panic, thinking he's dead or some similar horror scenario. I call his workmates, but they know nothing. I finally find his boss on Sunday, and am told CB has been staying there and is in a real state and will call me later. WTF. CB finally calls later that night, still at his boss's house, and tells me the following tale. On Friday, he was interviewed by immigration, who informed him that, as he had breached the condition of his visa by working one job more than 3 months, he needed to go back to the UK. He didn't love me anymore, and instead going to Queensland for a 2-week holiday before going back to the UK alone. He would come tomorrow to collect his bags. WTF. I'm crying. I'm asking why. I'm begging for an explanation. I'm crying some more. By the way, if at this point you're thinking I'm unbelievably stupid, I'll refer you to my earlier disclaimers. So, after crying for a few hours, I rang my girlfriends for some sympathy and support, and more crying, and then crawl into bed. After work the next day, one of these girlfriends rings me and says that she's calling bullshit on CB's story, and that I need to ring this number and speak to NM1, who's an actual immigration officer. NM1 tells me, incredibly kindly and patiently, that the story is indeed 7 kinds of bullshit, and that if someone had breached their visa and come to the attention of immigration, they would be scooped up immediately and not given a free pass for 2 weeks send-off tour of sunny Queensland. He also informed me that, while no one from the department has interviewed CB, and there was no file on him, upon checking his visa status, CB was in fact in Australia illegally, as he had not submitted a request form from his visa extension when he traveled to New Zealand the year before. It turns out that being automatically eligible for a 2-month extension does not mean automatically receiving the extension. OMFG. I might be naive, but damn, I can think when I'm angry. I told NM1 that if he wanted to apprehend CB, he could come to our department that night and do so. After CB came to collect his bags and give me some money he owed me, Suffice to say, it all went like clockwork. CB handed over the cash, dragged his shit out of the house in a couple of garbage bags. Somehow he couldn't locate his suitcase. Oops! And grabbed NM1 and NM2 and the sundry police as he walked down our drive to the street. 3 weeks or more later, NM2 rang to let me know that after spending 3 weeks in immigration detention, CB had been deported to the UK as an unlawful non-citizen. Score! CB had to pay for the cost of his own removal, which strike me as icing on the cake. My friend contacted the super fabulous travel agent and told her the story. I got my whole airfare deposit back. I found a new apartment and got another job, and never had to speak or look at him again. Angry is way better than sad. Out of sight really is out of mind. You know, if you're gonna find out he's a dick, at least you're gonna find out before you leave the country you're currently in with your family and your friends, instead of finding out when you've moved with him, then he leaves you in the UK and you're in a foreign land without anyone. So it all kind of worked out in the end. A quick disclaimer on this next story. I'm not sure why it's in r/Prorevenge. It's way more r/Petty Revenge. Not that intense. The only reason I'm still going to read it is because the antagonist is a PETA vegan. And as I'm sure you all know what PETA's been doing with our boy Steve Irwin lately, I feel we can all come to a consensus and say, screw these guys, we're reading this. I really don't like preaching. Cast. PV is PETA Vegan. Me is, well, me. So, this happened while I was living in Sundry, Australia. Hey, look at that, a lot of Australia stories. For anyone living there, you lot know that PETA really likes to show those animal abuse videos from farms while wearing Guy Fawkes masks near Westville in the city. No, I don't, but you know, I'm not Australia, so fair enough. Now, I have nothing against vegans, animal lovers, as I try my best to limit my red meat intake and love animals. I just happen to eat meat. Backstory. I'm Chinese. This part is really important later. And generally tend to keep to myself as much as I can, and don't really talk to strangers unless I'm feeling sociable. I happened to be around the city and saw these rather large dogos. I'm a sucker for dogos. Yeah, me too. And I asked their owner if I could play with them. They obliged and let me. What I didn't realize was I was being watched by a PETA volunteer nearby. After I got up from petting the dogo and thanked their owner, as they walk off, this happens. PV steps in front of me and starts talking. I didn't notice who he was at first, as my eyes were on the dogo still walking away. I answered without looking at him at first. Please take in mind, I don't remember much of this conversation word for word. I'm trying my best here. Fair enough? PV. Those dogs are beautiful. Me, awkwardly. Yeah, and they were soft and fluffy too. They look happy. PV. Yeah, they did. Do you love animals? Me. I do. I have a dog back in the country. PV. Oh, okay. Hey, do you eat meat? Yeah, it's pretty typical of a vegan. Me. Yeah, I do. I realized why he asked. PV. Ugh. But you said you love animals. Me. Yes, I do. But I also eat meat. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. PV. Well, how can you let something you love suffer for you? Me. Hey now, I don't want the animal to suffer when it's slaughtered. I believe in slaughtering animals without causing excessive pain to them. I like my animals to be treated humanely. PV. But you want them to suffer in death. Me. Well, we do take life in order to survive. I'm aware and respect that. PV. I just don't agree with you on that. I think animals are intelligent and should be respected. I mean, you wouldn't eat your dog like you would a cow, would you? Here comes my mistake. Nah, your mistake was talking to him in the first place. Anyways. Me. Not that I would, gets cut off. PV. You would eat a dog? Me. If you would let me, again. PV. You would eat a dog? Me. Calmly. Only if I direly need to. I'm not about to go eat, cut off again. PV. So you would eat a dog then? Me. If you would let me, cut off. PV. Angrily. You eat dog. 1. I hate being scoffed at by a better than thou attitude. 2. I don't like being cut off. 3. I went to the army. No one is gonna shove shit to my face and expect me to just take it. Me. Raising my voice so the people around us can hear me. Why are you continuing to say I eat dog? Are you trying to be racist? Do you walk up on all the Chinese people and try to make them admit to eating dog? PV, not entirely realizing how his words could be taken since he didn't listen. No, wasn't what I cut him off. Do you get off by being racist towards me? Do you think all Chinese people eat dog? PV, I'm not, I'm just trying to. Deep breaths and mumbles under his breath and walks away from me. As he walked away, I just made my way out of the vicinity and go about my errands. I just happened to pass by him a little later and saw him. I swear I saw him flinch. Yeah, I apologize if that voice was a little overly annoying, but I'm pretty sure that's how all PETA members talk, so had to be as accurate as I possibly could. Also, that scoffing, that was not friendly on the throat. Assault my girlfriend? Enjoy not getting into your dream school. Okay, so this is a long one, but I have to explain myself a lot prior to the main story. Me is me, of course. GF is girlfriend, and B is bitchface McBitch the third. I want to meet the first and second. Anyways, I'm very socially awkward, so I've had trouble making friends and was bullied throughout junior high because of that. However, in 11th grade, I entered the engineering class. I live in France. Learning about engineering can start in high school, which meant that a lot of students were awkward like me and ended up fitting in just perfectly. One girl in particular I got really close to. We liked each other a lot, and in 12th grade, I asked if she wanted to become my girlfriend after a trip to Disneyland she'd invited me to. To 12-year-old me, that was some kind of sign that she might have liked me back. Spoiler alert, she didn't. After telling me how she felt, I was more like a best friend. Okay, I can handle rejection, so I go on just being friends with her and progressively forgetting about my feelings for her. Unfortunately, she did not, and it got to her head. By now you might have guessed it, that girl was B. Wow, that's a twist. Not because she rejected me, but because of what was about to come. 12th grade ends, we both graduate, me as the valedictorian, and she barely having above average grades, and go on to our superior studies. She went to law university because she wanted to go to some high-end business school. I went to a low-tier prestigious prep school. Now, for a bit of information, prep schools in France are for the best of the best. They're the toughest schools to get into, and also to stay in. Curriculums are very difficult. We learn in 1.5 years what it takes a USA college student to learn in 4 years. I have vomited my guts working to get good results to no avail, while B complained about failing assignments and would go out to party the night before. Early in the first year of prep school, she and I got into a big fight, with her throwing completely bogus accusations at me. I have screenshots to disprove her claims, and making me feel really bad about everything. Eventually, that sent me into a depression, and I nearly flunked out of my first year of school because I couldn't keep my emotions in check. Meanwhile, she had flunked out 6 months in law university and failed her first attempt out of 3 to get into business school. From then on, whenever she saw me, she would be the meanest person alive. Eventually, I worked out my emotions and got back on track. I didn't see her for long enough that I wouldn't just break down by thinking about what happened. Second year of prep school, I meet my girlfriend to this day. Important note though, she is mute. She's wary of people because of bullying when she was younger, and often doesn't know how to react when being confronted about anything by strangers. That same year, my high school organizes some sort of forum where postgraduates get to present what they're doing now in life to their future graduates. I decide to attend, and my girlfriend comes with me, and the staff is alright with me bringing one extra, seeing as my girlfriend and I were doing the same studies, and said studies were underrepresented. We show up on Saturday morning when they had their forum, and surprise, surprise, B is also there. The forum is organized the following way: 2 rooms for study presentation, and 1 room for snacks and the postgraduates who come to present their studies. Halfway into the forum, a forum teacher recognizes me and comes to chat. I ask my GF in the meantime if she can go get us some snacks. 5 minutes pass and GF isn't back. I get worried, as I figure not many people here know sign language if she were in trouble. I excuse myself to my teacher and go to the snack room to see what's holding up my GF. What I see horrifies me. B is on top of GF, pulling her hair, clawing at her face, and yelling stuff like, You think you're better than me? I shove her off and immediately help my girlfriend up. But by the time I'm done consoling her, B has left the high school grounds. There's nothing I can do legally speaking against her either, because there are no cameras and no witnesses, so I cook up a little revenge. See, I had learned that B had failed her second attempt to get into her dream business school, and that she was going for her last try later that year. The exam works that way. Only the N first candidates can get through one phase of the exam, written phase and oral phase. If you are the N plus first, no matter how close you are to the nth candidate, you don't go beyond the next phase. So I asked my prep school friends, about 15 of them, to sign up for the entrance exam and do their best. They know it's to get revenge on B, and seeing as they love me and my girlfriend, and heard of the incident, they all oblige. We study our hardest for the written exam. Eventually the day comes, and a month later, the results show up. All 15 of my friends and I got a better score than B, meaning we ranked above her, and she was 9 ranks short of going on to the next phase, meaning if we hadn't taken the exam, she would have had a fair shot of getting into her school. The best part is the list of candidates and their placement is open to public. So she knew what I had done, which is why a few days later I received this text. "You asshole, what did I ever do to you? That was my last attempt." To that, I sent her a video of my girlfriend signing, "You mess with the bull, you get the horns," and giving her the finger at the end, and block her from everything I could think of. You know, it sounds like she was pretty jealous of your relationship with her, or maybe even jealous of her for having you, because why would she attack the girl in the first place? It doesn't really make sense to me. But anyways, moving on. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed those last few pro revenges. Now we're going to go switch it up and go right into the bonus like usual. And today is going to be it's going to be iFunny. Let's do it. Lover to my wife, father to my children, friend to my friends, and servant to the Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I'm shirtless right now and covered in coconut oil at your mama's cookout right now. Pass the barbecue sauce. Ooh, nothing like the majesty of a servant to the Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, am I right? I was standing in line at McDonald's yesterday, and just as I got to the counter, my boyfriend kissed me and said loudly, "You're the best sister ever," and walked away. The girl at McDonald's looked at me in disgust. I never wanted to die so much in my life. Nah. You don't let him get away with that. Go and smack his ass and say, "You got it, bro." My husband and I put our favorite "What do you mean" card on the fridge because it makes us laugh and our kids can't read. Hashtag bad parents. And the card says, when your 5-year-old paints something effing pathetic and you're trying to figure out how to tell them it's not fridge worthy. Yeah, you just tape it on the inside of the trash can and said, "That's a better spot for you, little Billy." I've looked into the eyes of Satan, and he's wearing a 15% off Earl Grey cardigan. Yeah, that's pretty accurate, alright. And that little mannequin in front's about to get his head chomped into. That's horrifying. I told my teenage niece to get me a newspaper. She laughed at me and said, "Oh, uncle, you're so old, just use my phone." So I slammed her phone against the wall to kill a spider. Modern problems require modern solutions. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace out.